Welcome to the Dip Dive. Today, we're diving into a really fascinating frontier, this whole world of DNA-personalized vitamin drink subscriptions. Have you ever looked at, your daily supplement and wondered, is this really what my body needs? Is there, like, a version just for me based on my biology? Well, our mission in this deep dive is to explore exactly that kind of future, where your genetic makeup, it's not just a map, it's more like a blueprint for your daily nutrition, a future where, yeah, your daily drink is as unique as you are.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this isn't sci-fi anymore. It's really starting to happen as our sources show. We're moving, well, light years beyond just generic green juices or those one-size-fits-all multivitamins. So this deep dive will unpack the how, the why, and maybe most importantly, the what's next for drinks designed like precisely around your unique biology. We'll look at the science, the market forces making this popular, and yeah, the challenges too.
Okay, let's get into it then. Picture this. You get a simple kit in the mail, you do a quick cheek swab, super easy, doesn't hurt, and you send it back. Now, that tiny sample, it seems small, but it actually gets the ball rolling on this incredible, really personalized process. What exactly is going on behind the scenes? Once that swab hits the lab, leading to this custom blend showing up at your door.
Right. Well, it's pretty sophisticated stuff. Once your sample gets there, the sources say it goes through this detailed genetic analysis. They're looking for specific nutrigenomic markers. And what's really cutting edge here is this isn't just general health info. These markers, they're often tiny variations in your DNA code, SNPs, they call them, single nucleotide polymorphisms. So it sounds technical, but basically tiny changes that can really affect how your body processes key things like folate metabolism is a big one. A common variation there in the MTHFR gene can mean a standard multivitamin isn't actually that effective for some people. They struggle to convert folic acid properly. So this analysis, it digs into everything from your metabolism's little quirks, like how well you handle fats or carbs, to how you absorb specific micronutrients, even how sensitive you are to things like caffeine, and all that detailed genetic info. That becomes the actual blueprint for a nutrition plan that's truly built for you.
That level of detail sounds amazing, almost futuristic. But are there real examples where this kind of genetic tailoring makes a noticeable difference compared to just taking, say, a good multivitamin or a probiotic, especially for listeners who might be a bit skeptical of magic health solutions? I mean, you're talking about a custom mix arriving every month with greens, prebiotics, maybe adaptogens, whatever your body is flagged as needing most.
Yeah, that's a really fair question. And one thing these genetic markers often highlight, based on our research, is correcting assumptions. Like, you might think you need more of something, but your genetics actually show you're surprisingly efficient. Or maybe the flip side, you might unknowingly underproduce an enzyme for something else, and standard advice would totally miss that. For instance, if your genes say you're a slow metabolizer of caffeine, well then a drink made specifically to either have less caffeine or maybe add adaptogens for energy instead. That could make a way more noticeable difference for you than just some generic energy drink. It really moves beyond that. Well, maybe this helps. It's an approach to something like, okay, this is actually designed for how my body works.
Right, so it cuts through some of the guesswork.
Exactly. Yeah. Less guesswork, more precision.
Okay, so beyond the personal health angle, let's zoom out a bit. What's driving this whole trend in the market? Because it feels like this isn't just happening in isolation, right? It seems to sit right at the intersection of some big, powerful trends that are changing how we think about health and products. What are those trends, and why do they make these DNA drinks so, well, compelling for you, the listener, if you're looking for that wellness edge?
Oh, absolutely. It really is sitting at a powerful crossroads. The first huge trend our sources point to is this functional beverage boom.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're seeing an explosion of drinks designed not just for taste or hydration, but for specific health benefits. You see it everywhere, right? Prebiotic sodas claiming to help your gut, mood-enhancing drinks, those all-in-one nutritional powders like AG1 that are super popular, even things like mushroom drinks.
Yeah, or even those mushroom coffees everyone seems to be talking about now.
Yeah, precisely. Those
Yeah.
two. And it's
Yeah.
all about added function, right? People are valuing these drinks for what they do, for the perceived health perks, the taste. And often the science they claim backs them up. It's a real shift from just, I'm thirsty, to I want to actively boost my well-being.
Okay. And layered on top of that functional drink trend, there's this massive push towards hyperpersonalization. You see it everywhere. Streaming services know what you want to watch. Clothes can be custom fit. Even your news feed is tailored by AI. The most successful companies now, they thrive by using data to tailor everything basically at scale. And that taps right into this deep desire we all seem to have for products that feel like they were made just for us. Like they get our individual needs without us having to explain everything. It's about feeling, I guess, seen and understood by the things we buy and use.
Mm.
But hang on, could this intense personalization also risk creating a sort of health echo chamber where you only get info on products matching what the algorithm thinks you need, maybe missing out on broader wellness ideas?
That's a really critical point and something to watch. While the personalization has huge upsides, yeah, there's definitely a risk of narrowing your focus too much. But the key insight here from a lot of the sources is how these trends together shift how people feel about the product. It changes the thinking from, oh, I guess I should take this generic supplement, to something more like, wow, this was actually made for me based on my DNA, so it must be better.
Mm-hmm.
And that perception, it makes people willing to pay more based on that perceived and hopefully actually proven effectiveness. So you combine that functional beverage boom with this drive for hyper-personalization, and boom, it perfectly fits into this growing wellness culture.
Mm-hmm.
People are way more proactive about their health now, right? They're actively looking for custom solutions. So the idea of a DNA-personalized drink, it just hits that sweet spot. It taps into this deep desire for optimizing your own health, where knowing about your body is power, and the product feels, well, uniquely yours.
Yeah. Okay. The science is definitely intriguing. The market trends make a lot of sense. So let's walk through how it actually works for a customer, step by step, from getting that first kit to actually drinking the product. How does it all unfold?
Right, it starts out pretty simply. Like we said, you get the testing kit, do the quick cheek swab at home, pop it in the mail. Easy. Once it's back at the lab, that's where the heavy lifting happens. They analyze those key nutrigenomic markers, digging into your genetic code for insights about your nutritional needs. Then, an AI system usually takes over. Think of the AI as the formulator in chief. It takes all that complex genetic data and basically translates it into the ideal mix for you. So maybe your genes suggest you could use more bioavailable B12, or perhaps you're really sensitive to caffeine's effects, or maybe you'd benefit from extra collagen for joint support. The AI figures that out and customizes the blend based on those specific genetic pointers. It's all about getting that precision right.
And then the exciting bit, you actually get the product. Those personalized ingredients, they get blended into, what, convenient drink sachets? Or maybe little bottled elixirs, and shipped to your door monthly as a subscription. But you mentioned something earlier, this ongoing at-home taste feedback. How crucial is that? Like, how much does subjective stuff like taste matter when the whole point is that it's based on objective genetic data?
Oh, that's a fascinating tension, isn't it? It's actually super important because, the genetic data gives the scientific foundation for what nutrients your body needs.
But if it tastes like pond water,
You're not going to drink it. Yeah. Simple as that. Consistency is key for supplements. So that feedback loop becomes vital. It allows the AI or maybe a nutritionist who's overseeing things to tweak the non-essential parts like the flavor profile or maybe the form of an ingredient. Maybe swapping one slightly bitter green for a milder one or adjusting the natural sweeteners, all without messing up the core nutritional value based on your genes. And make sure that the customization fits not just your biology, but also, your actual taste buds. That makes it sustainable, something you can actually stick with daily.
right, makes sense. The science and the customer experience seem pretty clear now. But what about the business side of things? How does a company offering this actually make money? What's the model, the costs involved?
Yeah, the core business model, looking at the market, is pretty straightforward. The main money comes from those monthly subscription kits. That's the bread and butter. But the real growth potential, and where they can add more value, is through strategic upsells and add-ons. For example, maybe premium subscribers get access to a health coach. Or they could offer specialized versions, like a keto-friendly blend, or one focused on athletic performance. You might see targeted boost sachets, too, like for extra immune support during winter, or something to help with sleep. Looking ahead, you could even imagine personalized smoothies or energy bars, all branching off that initial genetic profile.
The upsell potential sounds huge, but does that create a bit of a tricky situation? Like, if a company has your really sensitive genetic data, could they be tempted to push premium add-ons you don't really need? Kind of blurring the line between genuine health advice and just making more profit.
That is exactly one of the big ethical tightropes these companies have to walk. And it really comes down to transparency and designing the AI responsibly. For the reputable players, the focus has to be on recommendations that are genuinely driven by the genetic data and what the customer actually says they want to achieve, not just pure monetization. As for the costs, yeah, there are several key parts. First, partnering with accredited labs for the genetic testing itself, that's a big one. Then carefully sourcing all the different high-quality raw ingredients needed for potentially thousands of unique blends. You've also got the cost of building and maintaining that sophisticated AI system that does the analysis and formulation. That's ongoing. And finally, there's the whole logistics piece, fulfillment, packing, shipping these custom products out reliably every month.
Okay, so given all those moving parts, the specialized nature of it, what does that mean for profit potential? Is this a good business to be in?
Well, the sources generally suggest the potential for pretty strong margins, actually. Customers seem willing to pay a significant premium for health solutions that feel truly tailored to them, especially if they perceive, or better yet, feel a direct benefit linked to their unique biology. This willingness people have to invest in personalized wellness suggests it can be a pretty robust financial model, as long as the product delivers and the science behind it is solid.
Right. But of course, anything this innovative, especially touching on DNA and health, it's going to face challenges, big ones probably. What are the main hurdles for these kinds of products? And what should you, the listener, be really aware of as this market grows? You mentioned ethical tightropes earlier. What are the biggest ones these companies are navigating right now? And how can people tell a responsible company from one maybe cutting corners?
You've really hit on the most critical points there. First off, regulatory oversight is still kind of playing catch-up. These products often fall into this gray zone, somewhere between dietary supplements, which have fairly loose rules, and actual medical devices or diagnostics, which face much stricter regulation. That ambiguity, it makes it complex for companies trying to stay compliant and, crucially, build consumer trust. Then there's privacy. This isn't just your shopping habits, it's your literal genetic blueprint. Companies need to be incredibly clear, like almost overly transparent about how data is anonymized, where it's stored, who gets access. A single data breach in this space, it could absolutely shatter public trust for the whole industry. So telling the good players from the maybe less careful ones, look for transparency in their science. Do they explain how the genetics link to the ingredients? Do they have independent third-party validation for their claims? Check their privacy policy. Is it clear, easy to find, easy to understand, not buried in pages of legal jargon?
Wow.
And ask, is their science published, peer-reviewed? Or is it all hidden behind proprietary claims?
Okay, so those are some pretty significant challenges. Regulations, privacy, scientific validation. Given all that, how does a company really stand out? What makes one of these services truly different and better than the others, beyond just offering the basic personalization?
Yeah, differentiation is going to be absolutely key for anyone wanting to stick around long term. One major way is through that transparent science we just talked about, really showing your work, explaining the specific genetic insights, and exactly how they translate into the drink's formula. Providing actual evidence, not just making claims. Using certified, high-quality, ethically sourced ingredients is another big one. Showing where things come from builds a lot of confidence. Another angle is collaborating with accredited nutritionists or dietitians. Offering consultations or expert guidance could add huge value, making it more than just a product, turning it into a sort of wellness partnership. And interestingly, some sources mention companies exploring DNA-driven flavor profiles, using genetic markers that might hint at your taste preferences, like for bitterness or sweetness, to further personalize the experience. That's taking it another level.
Wow. Okay, so wrapping this all up, we've really dug into this powerful mix of trends today, haven't we? You've got
Right.
the all-in-one health appeal of functional drinks, the amazing customization that AI enables, and this deeply personal element from the wellness culture. And it all comes together in this idea of a vitamin drink literally made for your DNA, designed to optimize your health in a way that, well, just wasn't possible before.
Absolutely. And maybe stepping back for one last thought. Think about the bigger picture implications here.
Yeah.
Imagine a future where it's not just this drink, but maybe your blood work data, info from your smartwatch and your genetics, all feeding into a system that dynamically adjusts your nutrition day by day. That's not just a vitamin drink anymore. That's like a dynamic, predictive health companion. How could that fundamentally shift our whole understanding of health? Preventative care, personalized medicine on a massive scale. What stands out most to you about that potential future? And what questions does it raise about where bespoke health solutions could ultimately take us? Lots to think about there.